This is Marlon. I recently came to find out that the answer to life's age old question has always been has always been, why do good things happen? Why do bad things happen to good people? And a really good example of this that some may know are the beginning of the Galactic Wars, where this supposedly Christic or very good race of beings on the planet Lyra were attacked and almost fully annihilated out of nowhere by the Draconians. And this is a ancient part of our intergalactic history, and a lot of people don't have the answer to that question. So I'm going to give you the answer. The only reality is truth. Truth is not something you figure out, it's not something you calculate. It's something that is just simply true. It is the only truth, is truth. What I came to find out was that I believe the Lyrans that were attacked were trying to be spiritual. They were trying to follow some kind of universal law. And I think what happened, and this goes back to the universal law that I'm going to explain to you right now. Anything that you experience in your life from your own eyes, if anything is unpleasant, negatively experienced, it's because you have something inside of you that is attracting it. And people sometimes find that hard to believe when they hear these kind of stories about the past and these evolved beings that were so smart. How did they possibly how would God let these perfect, like, great beings just, well, you know what? They weren't perfect. I read somewhere, I heard somewhere they made a mistake. um I believe I'm going to tell you a little fable, and you guys can make your own choice. So there's a story where there's a group of maybe 10 people, and they are all trying to be their best selves, and they really enjoy their community. So they practiced what they thought was universal law. Well, one day they closed their eyes, and they didn't like anything that was negative. So they chose not to be negative, and they didn't want to have anything negative in their hologram or in their life. Well, one day this woman um, broke her leg, and um, I don't remember exactly what happened, but the people in this story chose not to help their family member who was sitting right next to them with a broken leg, because they didn't want to deal with, like, how nasty she looked with her broken leg and how disgusting the experience was to them. They didn't want to accept the reality. So they just closed their eyes and plugged their ears, and she died. So even though these beings weren't consciously, like, doing anything bad, just like you could say the same about a lot of humans on this planet. But right now, the same thing has been playing out. People have been not wanting to accept certain truths. When I talk to them, when I tell them about certain things, they either ignore it, or they're subconsciously full of the fear, full of fear, facing what really is a reflection of themselves, is whatever truth I'm going to be telling them. And I'm talking about things I can prove. So they choose to ignore it, just like they chose to ignore the dying family member next to them. And I'm remembering the story now. They thought the woman was bad or something because they didn't know they thought something, they thought she was negative. So they let her die. But the reality was, someone told them that she was negative. They did not take the time to ask her or even try to help her, and a very good person died. So the law of karma, well, it's not a law, but karma is real, whether you're aware of it or not. And it's an odd thing. I just wanted to share that with everybody. So just remember, there's no one to blame. God is not the reason why bad things happen. Every single soul creates their entire reality. And if something bad happens to them, that's they need to take ownership of it and say, okay, well, I'm a powerful creator. For why? And the best question to ask is, why did I create this in my life? I hate to say it, but what if someone, like, got raped or something? Like, a person at one point has to just kind of come into that reality that they created that. And when you take your power back from blaming others and realize you are the powerful one that can actually create miracles, you will start to be able to use your power a lot better. So again, the universal law is the outer reflects the inner always. There's no there's nothing that can stop that. It's a reality. Even if you don't know why, that's not even an excuse. You can choose to take ownership of it and then say, hey, I don't want this experience anymore. What do I need? And ask God or whatever, your higher self, your eternal self, what do I need to heal inside of me in order to change my reality? It's not just about trying to push with your mental mind saying, oh, I can manifest everything. That's a distorted way to look at the law of attraction. That's another thing that happened in our history that really screwed things up. People just thought, oh, I'll just if I think nice thoughts, then nothing bad will happen to me. Well, maybe, or maybe you're not being real. So I just wanted to share that. Thanks.